this morning. It was a good meeting, I thought. Carolyn and Mamoru were on the call, and Sharon and John, and Ann Nielsen was on the call. And it was a somber meeting in a sense because Alan asked me to speak early in the call. He called everybody on the call. It was only 10 of us on the call, I think, this morning. And he asked everyone to speak. So, and he wanted to talk about the morning devotion, and I wasn't on the morning devotion, so I was hoping he wouldn't call on me, but he did. So I talked about, I guess one of the points that Dr. Young talked about this morning was, there's God and there's Satan, and we need to unite with God in order to move forward. And that's something I kind of briefly talked about last week in my Sunday service, was affirmations. Affirmations are one way of connecting ourselves with our original mind and God's Spirit. And by saying that I believe that the power of God is in me. I believe that true parents are in me, and I represent them. So I mentioned that, and then I talked about the fact that in this first year of 2023, I was challenged to find my connection to God because one of my very close friends ended up in the hospital, and her name is Sun, and she was my employee originally, and then my wife and I helped her when she opened her own Japanese restaurant in Morehead City, which is my hometown. But she had a brain aneurysm, was it just close to the beginning of the new year, right? I think. And so she ended up in the hospital, I guess it was close to the end of last year. And so she ended up at the hospital at UNC. She was flown there by helicopter. And we've been taking turns going and visiting her there. And it's a long and painful recovery, unfortunately. And I couldn't really ask our church members to pray for her because most people don't know her. So I asked Bishop Dudley and Marianne, please pray for her, because they know her. Because when I go to Morehead City and we go out for dinner, we go to her restaurant. So, and right away they responded, we're doing it as, right now. And then another Christian friend of mine, Michael and Deborah, they're quasi-pastors. They have a home ministry. And he said the same thing, she's in our prayers. Let us know when she's better, because they have that kind of faith, that if we pray, things will get better. So that happened. And then Caroline mentioned, I believe, that also Karen Shaman is having some health issues, and George Hasabi had a mild stroke. I don't know if everybody knows these, but these are members of the Ocean community. And then Alan said, well, let's look around us. There's a lot of our members that are having health issues right now. So the conversation became one of mortality. And there comes a time in our life when we have to slow down, right, guys? We just can't keep plowing forward. We have to take time. We have to pace ourselves as we get older. And it's true that we lost a very important minister in the Maryland church, James Stewart, died, and was his son-in-law was this last week. So, it's nothing scary, it's nothing dark. It's a beautiful thing to go and be with, to ascend from this physical realm to the eternal world. But it was kind of the one thing that we were talking about this morning on the online service with Alan, and it was a beautiful conversation, actually. All right, would anyone like to add anything about from today's morning service, or given the fact that it's only 11:30, if someone has any testimony they'd like to share, since we don't have a sermon today, I'm really hoping that someone can offer a testimony from anything.